Dedication to Durham, it doesn't go unnoticed. Thank you again for making time to being here tonight. I know, of course, you've already had a long day of work, and you made it your point to be here at the DPAC. So let's get started this evening. Here's a brief overview of tonight's program. We will first have the presentation of colors by the Durham County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard, the national anthem performed by Lee Rodeo, vocalist Aaliyah Busby from NCCU, performing Lift Every Voice and Sing. Do we have some Eagles up in here? Okay, Eagle Pride now. Even though I'm a Howard grad, I love y'all. And finally, Poet Laureate Chris Vitello. He will be reading The Poetry Fox. So please direct your attention here to the stage.
All rise for the presentation of the colors. Detail. Attend. Forward. Walk. Present up.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has brought us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has taught us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chasing rod, felt in the days when hope unborn that with a steady beat of not our weary feet come to the place for which our Father sighed. We have come, oh, we have come over a way that with tears has been watered. Oh, we have come treading our path through the blood of the slaughtered. Oh, from the gloomy past till now we stand at last with a bright gleam of a bright star is cast. God of our wearies, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever in the path we pray, lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee, lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee, shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand true to our God, true to our native
Order. Post colors.
Good evening, everybody. I'm proud to be your current poet laureate. And the second poet laureate, actually, DJ Rogers, another Durham poet, was the first. I'm Chris Fidiello, and I have a poem of hope for Durham on theme for tonight, a short poem that I want to read to you. Hope is a dangerous thing What if you had hopes and then had to follow through with them? What if others shared your hopes and we all had to make them happen together? Hope for Durham in fraught times, spun in the teeth of the big gears, means taking the risks that the future we hope for requires. We could huddle alone, hopeless at home, anywhere, but not in Durham, not here. Thanks.
All right. Mayor Leonardo Williams is the 41st mayor of Durham, leading with commitment to equity, opportunity, and community-centered governance, a strong advocate for economic mobility, inclusive growth, and he prioritizes investments that expand across jobs, education, and housing. His leadership is grounded in collaboration, bringing together residents, businesses, and institutions to drive meaningful progress. Mayor Williams is deeply focused on creating a safer, more prosperous city where everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Let's go ahead and give a big welcome and round of applause for our mayor, Leonardo Williams.
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm assuming there are folks out there, 'cause I thought I was going to be able to see the crowd, but nope. Well, friends, distinguished guests, on behalf of the City of Durham, welcome to the 2026 State of the City Address. I thought a lot about what I was going to talk about, and I just kept thinking over and over and over. And as I was thinking through the council meeting last night that did not adjourn until 2:20 a.m. this morning, those things started dwindling out, and I just thought about, I could talk about this data point and these statistics and so on and so forth. But there was one question that just kept coming back to me. It's not about the numbers. It's not about what we build. It's not about, what progressive standards or conservative standards or whatever we are talking about. It's really down to one question. Who is this city for? Who is this city for? That's what I keep asking myself morning after morning, decision after decision. And I want you to know that my answer has not changed to that question. This city is for the family in East Durham who's been in the same household for 3 generations, who deserves to stay. This family is for the young person who grew up here, went to college, and want to stay here and build something meaningful. It's for the neighbor who just arrived to Durham, who's still trying to figure it out. And they're wondering, do I belong here? Is there room for me? Well, yes, there is. I'm here to tell you all tonight, this city is for us. Everything you hear from me tonight, everything you hear from me this evening, every number, every story, every challenge, and every victory, it's going to come back to 3 words: dignity, safety, and community. And we have real momentum right now. I truly mean that. Some of you all may have seen the Instagram post of the Prosperity Index, where there are 250 cities measured. And in many categories, Durham turned out to be, not respect to just size, but just in general, of the 250 largest cities, the number 2 city in America to be the most resilient, the most people ready, the most future ready for automation, all of the categories that are going to define tomorrow. We're only next to New York City, so we're punching well above our weight. So tonight, it's not just about what we've accomplished, but where we're headed. It's about who this city is for, who comes with us, and when we get there. So before I get into it, I almost decided to do this by name, but I would fail miserably. So therefore, okay, that's much better. Thank you. All right. So I'd like to acknowledge our elected officials. And I'm one of those folks that used to think, why we got to acknowledge the elected officials all the time? Why we have to stand when they walk in the room? Until I became one, and I realized how thankless the job is, how you are someone's target every single day. You are who people dump their worst on and still have to smile and make decisions and help people, even the ones who hate you. So I thank you. I know that we have some federal representation here. Congresswoman Valerie Fouché said she wanted to come, and I said, whoa. Do you have votes? She said, yeah. I said, you stay in Washington. So we don't want, DC is a little interesting right now. So do we have anyone from Congresswoman Fouché's office? There we are. Thank you, Salima, for being here. Our state, from our governor's office to, and I'm still acknowledging our past governor, Roy Cooper, as well, who's going to be our next U.S. Senator, and his staff. Do we have representatives from Governor Stein's administration, Governor Cooper's team? All right. I know I heard some folks reach out to me. But I also want to acknowledge our state representatives, our delegation, our state senators, Chitlett and Murdoch and Morey and Hawkins okay. Thank you, all of you out there. Thank you for your service. Elected officials from across the state. I know I have some in the backstage that are hanging out with me, but elected officials that came from across the state and the region, thank you for being here. Our directors, our agency heads, Go Triangle, RTA, thank you all for being here. For our school board, if you're in the house, please stand. Durham Public Schools. Y'all have been putting in work. Thank you. Our county commissioners, please stand. Thank you, Chair Lee, and happy belated birthday, Commissioner Jacobs. All right, well, thank you all for your service. Really, really do appreciate you. And, I do this job with a team, the team that you elected to serve alongside me, the Durham City Council. And I would like to take this moment to thank you for your service, for challenging me, for showing us how diverse the school of thought is in this community, and for the hope that you have for this city. And I know someone is probably thinking, he's not going to acknowledge the city council. But this year, finally, I got a few of them they didn't want to come on stage, so I want you to look at the screen and hear from a few of our city council members.
Hey Durham, my hope for our incredible city is that we continue to thrive and grow together and continue to be good neighbors to one another. I know that we always stand up for one another, and in this time when federal and state government policies are really targeting so many of our community members, I know that Durham will always stand up and fight. We will always protect one another. That is who we are. We are an extremely incredible city, vibrant, and that is my hope for us moving forward.
My hope for Durham is that we become a city that is safe, affordable, and walkable for everyone. And that means putting people and the environment over profit, making sure that our large institutions like Duke University are paying their fair share so that people can afford to live here and we can still provide great infrastructure and services. A city where ordinary people have the ability to shape the world that they live in and not just big developers. Let's build a strong local economy with diverse base industries, thriving small businesses, and a foundation for worker ownership. Let's make Durham a multi-generational city that is great for kids, young people, families, parents, and elderly, where everyone can live together in a healthy and safe environment. My hope for Durham is that we are a city that embraces who we are and our diversity, and work together for a better future for everyone, including future generations.
My hope for Durham is that we remember how connected we all are. Longtime resident or newly arrived, urban or rural, homeowner or renter, black, white, or brown, we all call Durham home, and that choice binds us. We carry with us Durham's proud history of innovation, culture, and a long unfinished fight for justice. Together, we get to write our chapter in Durham's story, and I hope we will do justice for our ancestors, our descendants, and the natural world. This is a great responsibility, but it doesn't mean we have to be perfect. We just need to be present, to walk into the hard places clear-eyed and with open hearts. Showing up persistently for each other is not a small thing. It is everything. My hope is in shouldering this responsibility, we embrace the not-so-radical idea that for one of us to thrive, we all need to thrive. Happy State of the City, y'all.
Good evening, Durham. This is City Councilman Carl Rist. I am so sorry that I cannot be with you tonight for the annual State of the City event. I'm currently in California at the wedding of my youngest son, and if it weren't for that festive and joyous occasion, you know I'd be with you in the Bull City tonight. Durham's an amazing, vibrant, prosperous, engaging, and diverse community. It's what brought so many of us here, and it's why so many people continue to come to Durham. Models show that by 2055, we're going to grow by another 50% to almost 500,000 residents. My hope for Durham is that as we grow, we maintain that vibrancy and that prosperity, but as we do that, we attain greater shared prosperity. We attain greater social cohesion in Durham. I want to make sure that newcomers feel welcomed and a part of what we're building in the Bull City, but I also want to make sure that existing residents are confident that as we grow, we maintain the quality of life that's so important to them. I hope you share my vision, and I look forward to working with you to make that a reality in Durham. Good night, everyone.
Colleagues, if you're here, please stand. Thank you so much. Thank you for your service. And I know that you're tired, like me. That was a late meeting last night. All right. Also, you know, I take pride in our police department. I love the work that they do. But they've been led by a fearless leader, Patrice Andrews. Yes. And normally she's standing right beside my wife and I doing the State of the City, but she is working tonight. And she said, Mayor, don't call me out. So I'd like to call her out and thank her for her service. She will be retiring within the next week, and just so grateful for what she's contributed to this community. So Chief, we love you and thank you. I'd also like to thank my family. My mama is here. Thank you for birthing me. Thank you for pulling me back to Durham, because I was headed to Charlotte to go to Johnson C. Smith, and she said, no, you're going to be in the band at Central. And so I'm glad she did that. So here I am in Durham, sitting next to Miss Sandra. And there is, you know, we get really tied up into this political thing, but you have to have a balance. You have to have a balance, someone who doesn't really care about the politics and not afraid to tell you that. I come home and I'm talking about all these policies and things, and she's like, so, you know, there's a load of laundry in there. By the way, I need you to go to the grocery store. But I appreciate that balance. I appreciate the constant. I appreciate the energy. I appreciate how she empowers me to keep me going for you. Zweli, I love you. Thank you. And my son Isaiah wanted to be here, but he's at Duke, and he is doing homework and studying for finals. But I love him, and I know he'll be watching from where he is and eating. So let's get to it. Let me tell you why we're here tonight and what this city has been doing for you. I want to tell you about the people, the partnerships, and what makes Durham worth celebrating tonight. And I'm going to start with our community partners and our small business community. I've always said that government cannot do this alone. And I want to be very clear. This is not a polite disclaimer or something to just put in a nice speech. I say it because it's real, an operating conviction that shapes how I lead and how our council leads the city every single day. The best things happening in Durham right now are because of the partnerships that we have, real ones, with institutions that are not just located in Durham, but are genuinely, deeply invested in what this city has become. Partners in action. And considering that Durham has been named the second most educated populace in America, I want to highlight our higher ed institutions, our partners in the academic space this evening. So I'll start with Duke University. And I know there's been a lot of, talk about, how's Duke going to support Durham and how's the relationship really going to materialize? Well, over the last year to year and a half, we've been working very closely together. And recently they launched Homegrown, a $203 million investment into Durham and into the region. And this is a real investment, and it is also just the beginning. They're going to expand and grow their level of entry-level hiring from 69% to 80%. And they're also going to double their second chance hiring. That means that folks right here in Durham who have barriers maybe will have an opportunity to be employed at our #1 employer right here in the city. Secondly, Duke is directing $120 million in construction work right here in the Triangle and in Durham. And they're also making sure that 2/3 of that are minority and women-owned contractors. They make sure that these are businesses growing right here in Durham, making sure that families are stabilized right here in Durham. Third, they'll increase their spending with local businesses by $45 million. This is a direct investment into our small business community. I'll talk more about that a bit later. But one thing that we struggle with in our small businesses is being bid eligible to take on these major projects. So we're going to focus and be very intently on that. And fourth, $38 million into community CDFIs, making sure that we are supporting institutions that can take a chance on maybe the smaller man or woman business. These investments are real. They support housing stability and it ripples throughout our community. And I look forward to continuing to build this bridge with Duke University. Next up, my alma mater, two-time NCCU. NCCU, as one of the nation's premier HBCUs, is actively developing the next generation of leaders right here in Durham. Their Vision 2030 plan is a new era of engagement, especially with Research Triangle businesses, and strengthening the roots and in the local community organizations. As a matter of fact, the School of Law is sending graduates right back into our community, into our courts, into our community or in nonprofit organizations, into government, and into the fight for justice. And I love this fact. Still, they're the #1 law school, despite HBCU, PWI, whatever, the #1 law school in America for Black women. And then there's Durham Tech. Durham Tech is truly a workforce engine for us. Through their foundation with 200 scholarships a year, Durham Tech is making sure that the employers that we recruit to this community, they are a partner with them, they are upskilling, partnering with our county colleagues and the city to make sure we have the Bulls Initiative to where when you talk about affordable living, affordable housing, we're pushing for affordable living. We're making sure that not only you can afford where you live, but your dollars stretch further, that you can make sure your wages grow. They're making sure that AI literacy is a campus-wide priority to be competitive in the workforce for tomorrow. So I'm appreciative to Durham Tech as well. Let's give a hand for our higher ed institutions. Now, my wife and I are small business owners. I think everyone knows that. But I want to really speak to you directly, to our entrepreneurs, our small business owners. You are not just a part of this city, you help build it. You're the backbone. From Black Wall Street to today, you line our corridors, you anchor our neighborhoods, you tell the story of who we are. So to every small business in this room and throughout the city, I want you to hear me clearly. I see you, I understand you, because I am one of you. And I also know what it feels like to pour everything you have into something that you believe in, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you, and yet you keep going. I know times are tough right now, but I give you my word, I will not stop fighting for you. I will not stop speaking for and with you. I said Durham punches well above its weight. That's mostly because of you. That is our spirit here in the Bull City. And so my goal is to make sure that that continues for every entrepreneur in the city. You have a real shot at success. Now, I know we had a land valuation and some people passed out at the tax office. In a few minutes, I'm going to get to that. But I want to take a break to do something really fun. I've asked a few people to join me here tonight. And when you talk about Durham, we have this tagline, the city of medicine. But if you see videos, you hear me talking about the city of culture, the city of innovation, the city of all these things. But the nation looks at us as the city of sports as well. We are the Mecca. And so tonight I want to recognize a few champions. And I'm about to freak my staff out because I'm going to do something they told me not to do. And I'm going to ask you, when I call your name, your school, I want you to come on the stage with me because I want people to see you. But I want to acknowledge the champions in this city. And I'm going to start with NCCU. NCCU, MEAC champions in football, softball, the HBCU champions in men's tennis, and just recently, the national champions for the national debate. If you're in the room, come on up here with me, any of you. Duke University, men's basketball, 3-time ACC champions, women's basketball, ACC champions, football, ACC champions, men's lacrosse, men's fitness, fencing. What's up, Coach? Hey. Women's softball, Duke University. Also, Durham Academy, multiple sports state champions, national speech and debate champions and conference champions across multiple sports. The North Carolina School of Science and Math. North Carolina School of Science and Math, cross country, state champions. Also, the number one, for 3 years in a row, the number one public high school in the nation, right here in Durham, North Carolina, North Carolina School of Science and Math. And this one is especially special to me because I taught here for the first time, school history, I believe, state champions in basketball, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association champions, Southern Durham High School. To every young person on this stage, to every coach, I want you to know that we appreciate you. This is what the city expects of you. Not perfection, but pursuit. Not just winning, but competing with character. Representing your school, your family in this city. Durham, everybody, Durham, the Bull City. We are a city of champions, and you're looking at them right now. Thank you all so much. I did not want another championship to go by and we just say congratulations and move on. There are cities across this country that are begging to have the talent of what we're producing here. I'm grateful for each and every last one of you. Thank you. So, we recently hired a new city manager. His name is William Bo Ferguson. This guy is really cool. He's like the James Bond of city managers. And he drives a cool car too, but when he drives his wife's Oldsmobile, I'm like, hey man, what's this? What's this in the garage? But he's so cool. He leads a magnificent team. And remember I was talking about those taxes? Well, I want you to know that I want to highlight just briefly how your taxes are invested and how it comes to life. None of what I'm about to share tonight is possible without the men and women who work in this city every single day. They show up, and I'm privileged to work alongside them, my colleagues and I, the nearly 2,700 employees in this city. So, Mr. Ferguson, you and your team, could you please stand? Thank you. I just also wanted you to stand because when people yell at me and say, Mayor, why don't you do this? It's not me, it's him. It's him. Folks, we're going to celebrate their work, but I want to tell you how your taxpaying dollars are coming to life. So let me start with our Durham Police Department. And I'll speak a little fast just so I can get through this and be able to get to some other parts of the speech and not hold you here all night. But as the police department moves through transition, the work that they are doing to build trust, to strengthen our community relationships, and to drive real public safety outcomes in this city deserves to be named and deserves to be honored. Violent crime fell nearly 17% in 2025. Aggravated assaults were down more than 21%. Robberies were down more than 9%. And on March 26th, we're always talking about a shortage. On March 26th, our basic law enforcement training class number 62 graduated 30 new recruits, the largest since 2019. And on March 18th, we launched started another class that has 33 new recruits in it. So let's give it up for our police department. I see some social media posts about our 911 center. And this is one of the hardest jobs in the city. Our 911 center, from January 1st last year to March 31st this year, answered over 445,000 calls. That's 445,000 times that someone was in dire need. That's 445,000 times where while you may have been at Thanksgiving dinner, someone was in crisis and they were at work. That's 445,000 times while you may be going to the movies and just hanging out, they are at work. While you're celebrating Christmas, they are at work. And so out of the 445,000 times, giving it their all, the least we can do is say thank you. Let's not tarnish them on Facebook about missing one call, because I'm sure if they miss it, they call back. Let's make sure we lift them up. This is a hard job. That's 445,000 times that they had to take on the worst of someone's moment while others criticized. And I will always stand up for our city employees, no matter what. For our fire department, when the rest of us are running away and evacuating the building, running away from danger, they are running to it. That takes courage, full stop. And they are answering thousands and thousands and thousands of calls. Our fire department, every last one of them are EMS trained. So when someone says, oh, we don't have enough EMS, we have our fire. We're going to get to you. And we're going to make sure that these services are provided to you. So let's thank them as well. To our Parks and Recreation, I have a real soft spot for this department because I think many people sort of misunderstand or overlook what they actually do sometimes. You know, green space is it's not a luxury. Amenities, you know, it's not just an amenity. This past year, just about registrations for programming and check-ins, we had 5,000 youth registering for programs offered at our Parks and Rec centers. We had over 10,000 teen check-ins to say, hey, I'm here. I'm not on the streets. I'm here. We had 2,000 check-ins of mature adults that's just hanging out, doing active things. And at the holiday senior party, the party that I look forward to every single year, 830 people dancing nonstop, literally saying age is nothing but a number. Let's give it up for our Parks and Rec team. To our Transportation and Public Works team, you're literally building Durham's future. The roads we drive, the trails we walk, the transit system that connects our residents to their jobs, their schools, to doctor's appointments, to their families. Last year, Go Durham executed over 6 million trips for riders. That's nearly 21,000 riders or trips a day. So our transit system is not just another option. Sometimes it's the only way people can get around. And we are excited to say busing is fare free in this community. And not only are they connecting and making sure that we're getting people from point A to point B, they're winning grants. We just won millions of dollars in conjunction with Go Triangle. We are connecting the triangle. We are making sure people can get from point A to point B. They are delivering not only passengers, but they're delivering results. Thank you. Our solid waste department, our curbside crews. I know we get those calls. They didn't pick up my trash this week, or they didn't pick up my rubbish. You changed the order. Well, let me tell you what they actually did. They collected over 56,000 tons of municipal solid waste, 14,000 tons of recycling, and more than 8,000 tons of yard waste and brush last year. So this city is cleaner because they show up, full stop. And I also want to thank them for allowing me to get on the truck and ride to understand how this complex system they have, cleaning out ice and snow on the roads. Thanks for letting me tag along. It was super fun. I'm really impressed with how skilled these guys are. So thank you. And on the sustainability front, Durham was one of the very first communities in North Carolina to make a serious binding commitment to carbon neutrality and renewable energy. Our goals are clear: 80% renewable energy in city operations by 2030, carbon neutral by 2040, 100% renewable by 2050. Our sustainability work is not just an environmental program, but it's a justice program. We want to make sure that houses are warm when it's cold outside and cool when it's hot outside. And speaking of that, let's get into housing, homelessness, and human dignity. The next two things I'm going to talk about, as I'm bringing it to the end of the program shortly, are two of the main frameworks that we're going to be solving over the next year. The safety and well-being of our neighbors who do not have a stable place to call home. So in Durham, we don't want to treat this as a nuance to be managed. We don't want to treat it as a human issue. We want to treat it as a human issue because that's exactly what it is. Our strategy, built alongside Durham County and Durham Public Schools and our community partners, rests on one conviction that I hold deeply. Housing is the solution. Not a shelter as a permanent state, not manage homelessness, warehousing people indefinitely and calling it a system. Housing, real, stable, permanent housing. And some, while may call this plan that we're working on ambitious, well, it is, but it's not impossible. Housing is not just a roof. It is the foundation from which a person can actually rebuild their life. So our Forever Home Durham initiative is built entirely on that belief. And I want to tell you about a few results. We've committed $160 million in investments, setting housing goals, exceeding every single one of them, actually. More people are in permanent housing than we ever proposed. More families are stabilized than we ever anticipated. The Vanguard Apartments, for example, opened just recently in September of 2025, transforming 214 aging public housing units into 538 mixed-income homes, backed by a $40 million Choice Neighborhood grant. This is not just new housing. This is actually community rebuilt with dignity at the center of it. So we set these goals, we met them, and the challenge continues to grow, and we're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to build frameworks that allows us to meet those goals. And so by 2031, if all goes well, we're going to get down to zero. to the point where if someone goes homeless in this community, it'll be brief. We're going to get them the support they need and get them housed. So that brings me to our HEART team, who's doing a little more than just alternative response to police. They are taking on major tasks here. In 2023, HEART grew from a small pilot program covering only a third of the city into a fully citywide program responding to 365 days a year, 15 hours a day. And since then, HEART has responded over 40,000 times to support neighbors facing crises. Independent evaluators from Duke University and the University of Michigan found that HEART reduces crime reports by 58% and reduces arrests by 56%. And last year alone, HEART's work saved the Durham Police Department more than 8,000 hours. That is why we're a national model. That is why we're featured on CNN. And that is why we're going to continue to expand this program. The city and county of Durham have joined together also with significant community partner organizations in an unprecedented partnership to transform our response, not to just manage this crisis, but to end it. So as I was mentioning, our North Star is this: by June 2031, homelessness in Durham will be rare and brief for everyone experiencing it. This plan calls for a $13 million community-wide investment, and we are already having conversations to raise this capital. Our year one target is to raise $5 million to reduce homelessness among families by 10%, among youth and young adults by 50%, among veterans by 30%, and among people living unsheltered by 30%. So we have a lot of work to do. It's ambitious, but I know that we're going to get there. And I do have a special guest with us tonight. There's no greater responsibility I carry as mayor than keeping this city safe. Sometimes this is where I lose my cool, and I'm working on that, but I just don't want to see our young people's lives cut short. When I talk about violence reduction, I'm not talking about statistics. I'm talking about families and neighbors. I'm talking about children who deserve to grow up without fear. This is not abstract to me. This is actually very personal. The people doing the shooting and the people mostly getting shot, they look like me. I've said that publicly before. I'll say it again tonight, because I think it matters. It's not just policy, it's pain that I refuse to become numb to. And that is why I refuse to give up. I have many statistics to share about violence, but that's not what I want to do tonight. This is simply one area that I believe deserves raw, honest truth. Violent crime cannot be solved on social media. It cannot be solved by tearing those of us down who are in position to allocate resources. That doesn't mean that you don't come at us and pressure us, but it does mean that the power of our collective is more than enough to get the job done. So, as I've said before, I'm excited to work with contributors in this space from every perspective. And I know we have experts and lived experiences right here at home, but I'm not afraid to call on you, your neighbor, your family, and whoever else that can contribute to this, be it down the street here in Durham or national experts amongst and above the Mason-Dixon line, to get our hands dirty together. So in an effort to finally address violent crime in this city, this winter, the city and the county came together in our schools to launch a focused process on reducing community violence and saving more lives. Over the past several months, we have been engaging with local residents, the people who live in this every day, and consulting with local and national experts who have done this work in other cities. And this summer, we will hold a summit, bringing together leaders from across Durham to take everything we've learned from all the listening sessions and identify a concrete set of strategies that we can advance together and invest in. It's not a report, not a framework that's just going to sit on the shelf somewhere, but actually a plan that's going to have action behind it with investment. So every life in this city matters, and every act of prevention matters. And as long as I'm in this seat, we're not going to stop. So I have a special guest. This person happens to be someone who successfully led on this. This person, when he first started leading his city, he received some of the same pushback that I'm getting. He happens to be from my hometown. He happens to be, our families are very close and connected, so we call each other cousin. He happens to be the mayor of Baltimore, Maryland, and the newly minted president of the African American Mayors Association. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, my boy, Mayor Brandon Scott.
City, Mayor
Good
Scott.
To be back. Good to be back. Good to be back.
Yes. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. This is now our time and our segment for our fireside chat, just to have some frank conversation and some insight from both of you all, again, with your various experiences that really kind of parallel each other. So let's go ahead and get started and continue with this evening's program. So Mayor Williams and Mayor Scott, both of your cities, of course, have been through moments where leadership has been tested. And you have been through the moments where you inherited some hard problems and you have had to navigate that. But before we get into the data and before we get into, you know, all the priorities and things, just how does it feel to really take on that role and guide your people and guide your community through some tough times? We'll start with our guest, Mayor Scott.
Yeah, I think for me, the truth is tough times are the easiest time to lead, because that's when leadership really shows. Anybody can do these jobs when the money is flowing in, when there's no hard decisions to be made, when there's no hard issues or things to tackle. But when you are faced with tough times, and for me, I've had the worst luck when it comes to that. My first day in office, the first thing I did was say, everyone has to go back home and don't come back. Because I tell you to, because it's the middle of the COVID pandemic. Obviously, I've dealt with the collapse of the Key Bridge. I've had a block of houses explode, all of these things. But in those moments is when true leadership is tested. And I think at the end of the day, the way that you lead, if you lead all the time like this, those tough times, those Kairos moments, those big decisions won't feel any different for you. If you lead and know that you have to do the right thing for your people, for your community, for your city, that's the way that I always lead. A lot of times doing the right thing is unpopular. It's not going to get you the likes on TikTok or Instagram. People are going to be yelling at you. But at the end of the day, do what's right in that moment. And that's the true mark of a leader.
Mayor Williams.
Yeah, I think that I think Brandon just said a mouthful. She don't know I'm going to say this, but my Mayor Pro Tem, Javier Caballero, when we were in our closed door meetings with the manager and where he's given us the impossible decision to make, she likes to look at me and smirk and say, "What? That's why you're the mayor." True. And that's when I really feel it, like, wow, and while, we're kind of joking but serious in the moment, the entire community is like that all the time. You are the decision maker, you're the mayor. And I have to receive, all of the frustration that people have with Trump, the frustration they have with the state of North Carolina, and all of the expectations that I have to manage here locally. And North Carolina's government has constrained us to the point of just being impossible to really address anything. But that's not an excuse. You still have to lead. And so I take the frustration of my residents and I interpret it as passion. I interpret it as, I am the closest thing they have to take out their anger and frustration, and I'm going to use that to let whoever needs to know it. And I appreciate it, actually, because I know if they're upset about something, then they have what it takes to help solve it.
What I'm hearing is servant leadership, right? We are here to serve the people. You're in this position not for yourself, but again, for the people that you represent. Like, that's what it's all about.
For a good time, not a long time.
Hello? All right now. Well, both of you have a governor across significant political opposition, right? Whether it's the far left, far right, sometimes even from people in your own community. But Mayor Williams, you know, how do you just really stay focused on the shared outcomes when it comes to housing, when it comes to safety, and when it comes to opportunity?
You know, I won't disclose her name, but she'll know who I'm talking about. There is someone that just gets on my case all the time online.
She holds you accountable.
You know, she is always ragging on me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, we had a conversation on the phone yesterday, and I said, let me tell you why I don't like you. I don't like you because this is the first time we're talking, and the things that you're upset about, me too. And the ideas that you have, I agree with. Wow. I don't like you because I can't believe that we've gone this long without having a conversation. Wow. And you know, sometimes it just takes someone who you think you disagree with or disagree with you to just have that conversation. And you realize that you're more of an ally than an enemy. And I'm looking at what they're doing for the community, and I'm just blown away. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to let the bureaucracy of government stop what you're trying to do for this community. If you're trying to save lives, if you're trying to keep people safe, if you're trying to generate prosperity, then therefore I got your back. Sure. And so we had that conversation. I think it was symbolic of many opportunities where you can not only manage expectations, but manage outcomes. It's all about the collective power.
Mayor Scott, have you had moments like that where, you know, you have a community advocate, like you're laughing, like, yes, plenty. You know, have you experienced those moments where you've connected with somebody in the community about certain issues?
Yeah, all the time. So this is my 19th year in City Hall. I was 23 when I came. I'm 42 now. So essentially, it doesn't look like it, right? I've grown up in City Hall. But I think for me, most of the time it's the opposite, right? Like, I wasn't the chosen candidate. I kind of like broke the mold of how people win elections in Baltimore. It angered a lot of people to the tune. They were so mad that they went out and bought newspapers, gave us term limits, all of these things simply because I won the election not once but twice. But for me, when I think about the folks in the community, even when they come to our town halls or things, and my staff is all like, no, let them get it out, because I think that's where a lot of the best policy, that's where a lot of the best understanding comes from. I was raised that you don't surround yourself with people that only think like you, look like you, act like you, right? When you think about that, being uncomfortable makes you grow into the best version of yourself. But when it comes to the people that are dead wrong, like the folks in DC and some others, I love all that smoke. I want it. Come on, we're gonna have the conversation. I'm gonna not only tell you you're wrong, show you how you're wrong, and how the way that we're doing these things are better for our people, and all people, including folks that might not vote the same way that I vote. And I think that that's the true mark of leadership, is that you just have to fight through all of that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't be afraid of conflict.
No.
You're right.
The smoke.
Yes, bring it on. Okay. Well, one of the harder governance questions is how to use philanthropy and federal dollars without becoming dependent on either. So Mayor Williams, Duke just announced a $203 million homegrown initiative focused on local hiring, construction, and affordable housing. Mayor Scott, GVRS launched on ARPA funds, and you moved it quickly to city tax revenue when these dollars ran out. So just overall, how do you treat external resources as strategic investments rather than short-term lifelines? You know, thinking on the long haul, thinking beyond maybe your term. Either of you can start.
Yeah, I'm a regionalist, and I sit on the board of trustees with Go Triangle. Go Triangle manages connecting the Triangle through transit. It is very important that they work with our in-house transit as well. And then we have, like our TPOs that are more specific to the region, and you have your city and county transit. It is very important that we understand relationships are the real currency, and how those agencies work together is how we build our capacity. We just won millions of dollars in grants to, contribute to our mission here of connecting the Triangle. But also just the way city governments and local and state governments are set up, it's just really hard to move money for what we actually need. Right now, we're spending, as a nation, $2 billion a day on a war that's unnecessary, and yet we have hungry children in our streets. We cannot turn on one another. We have to turn together and make sure that we are building collective power here locally. And so from transit to right here locally, from the Bull City Future Fund is an example. You have to get really creative on how you utilize external philanthropy to build capacity inside the government and outside. Because our community members are not looking at the borders of government and agencies. They're looking at, I pay my taxes and I deserve this, which they do, and we need to deliver on that.
Yeah, I agree with Leo wholeheartedly, and I think that we have to think about how we operate governments in a different way, right? People have thought about governments as these things that are just insular within themselves. But when you think about some of the toughest issues that are facing a city like Durham or Baltimore, when you think about the institutions and the broader community, those issues also impact them. So when we started GVRS, which is our group violence reduction strategy, our leading strategy to how we have reduced homicides and shootings by 60% over the last 5 years, including the lowest amount of homicides on record for Baltimore last year. We immediately, the first group of people to agree to help fund that was my federal delegation. It's actually in a documentary film called The Body Politic. But it's not just our federal dollars, it's not just our city dollars, it's our philanthropic dollars. Bloomberg, other folks, other foundations in Baltimore. And the way that we do that and do it that way, because when something is not solely funded by the government, it becomes a part of the broader community. This is already a community initiative because it's fueled really by the community workers that do the work outside of the police department. And when you think about that, that's how we should be operating. We do that so well in Baltimore. We're blessed to be the home of Johns Hopkins and have great relationships with Bloomberg and all the other foundations. But when you operate that way, we have to get out of this mindset that these things are the sole responsibility of city government and make them really a responsibility of the greater community. And especially right now, when the things and the strategies that have gotten violent crime to its lowest point in a long time across this country are under attack from the highest office in the land, it's going to come down to us at the local level, right? I'm blessed. I don't have to worry about my cousin. I have to worry about county government. There's no county government for me. But local government, state government have to really come together with the broader community to keep those things going and alive, the things that matters to people on the ground. Because for us, there's no can to kick. We can't kick it anywhere. We're going to be the ones in the grocery store, and Ms. Johnson's going to be like, I know you're not responsible for this, but they cut my Social Security and now I can't afford my food. That's the reality of local government.
Yeah. It's about working together. And like you said, there are groups and community organizations that are in the community doing the work already. So how do we use them? How do we get philanthropy money to make sure that they can continue to do the work that they're doing? And so, Mayor Scott, you said that the numbers that haunt you just aren't the homicides. I think we have all been impacted by fentanyl deaths, whether it's personal, a friend of a friend, or family, vacant homes, young people who just don't see a path forward. So you started your career at Big Brother, Big Sister. I used to be a volunteer with that organization in Roanoke, Virginia, before entering politics. And so how do you show room for people, young people, who have really stopped believing in government? Or even, not even just young people, they're young adults and even adults now who just say, I don't see you all working for me, or where do I fit into all of this?
Yeah, I think that really we have to show our young people a different way. And the first thing that we have to do is we have to do something that I always say, when I was growing up in Baltimore, I was looked at as a problem to solve, not a resource to invest in, right? I grew up in a neighborhood that hosts one of the Triple Crown races. They actually just sold the naming of Preakness today for $85 million.
Oh my
right?
gosh,
So
wow.
imagine living in a neighborhood that is the literal sports center of the world for the third Saturday in May, and every other day you're not treated as human. So I take that lived experience of living in the time when we were policing because it was breathing while black. If you were outside and breathing, actually one of my detectives who with me, we grew up together, we would experience that. So now we operate in a different way. We look at our young people as our greatest resource to invest in. And when you invest in young people, and also not just building new schools. So we've opened 13 new schools since I've been in office, 7 recreation centers with 6 more to open this year, 8,500 youth summer jobs last year, 3,200 summer camp spots, 6 new pools. All of those investments are critical. But you also have to help them build better versions of themselves. So through my mayor's office of African American male engagement, we do a great thing with our young brothers and sisters who are teenagers and may be into some things, and we bring them in. First and foremost, you cannot just go out to these young people and look, it happened to me, right? They cut your hair, pull your pants up, don't talk like this, don't do like this, don't do that, don't do this, get a job, right? And then you're like, do you know my name? You don't know who I am. You have to first get to know them and then help them get to know themselves and what they come from and what they truly are. And we do that work. And then for the folks who are a little older through our GVRS program, before we go out and do the law enforcement focus on them, we actually get a knock on the door. And the knock on the door is from one of our community moral voice partners. And there's a letter directly from me. I know who you are. I know what you do. I want you to stay alive. I will give you any resource you need, whether that's housing, substance abuse, education, whatever, a job, whatever you need, we will help you get it. But if you don't take me up on this, know that this is your only chance you're going to get. And when you think about the folks that we have interacted with through our GVS program since we started in early 22, over 90% of them haven't been re-victimized or recidivated. So that kind of number, that intense work, and even from the work that we do with our summer programming for our teens, it's all designed by them. And we have to look at these young people and give them opportunities and balance it with accountability so they know both are going to exist.
Sure, for sure. And Mayor Williams, you've talked about our young people being an asset to our community. So again, you are relatively young leaders, in the grand scheme of things. So, as you represent a generation that you're really trying to serve, how do you, explore those possibilities, even in your own office and in the initiatives that you are invested in?
Yeah, so I'm going to make some announcements and in the closing right after this, but just on how the agility of, the way I'm designing this mayor's office with agility and flexibility of going out and finding resources. I do get jealous of Brandon sometimes because, he's an executive mayor, where in North Carolina, legally, we don't allow executive mayors. So we talk about it a lot. He's like, man, I don't know how you do it, Doc.
It won't be me.
But, whereas, he has the schools, he can set a budget for the schools, the county, the city is the county. Everything is under one umbrella. Here, we have different elected bodies with different agendas, different jurisdictions, and we have to find a way to all get on the same page. You have political groups that are going to advocate to each group differently, and it's also fragmented. And so this Dillon rule versus home rule approach makes it a little harder for us to move as quickly, but I do think it's possible because every single person that's elected in Durham I know cares about this deeply. But that is also why I started the Bull City Future Fund, raising money in the private sector, because I don't need a vote from anybody to say, look, I want to invest in these youth-serving organizations. So that's why we did it.
Yeah. They have to be able to see it. Hey, let me see that this is possible. And we know that our youth is so critical to our future, and we care. They want to know that you care. Like you said, Mayor Scott, do you even know my name? It's about relationship building. So that's so important. And now both of you have, of course, been explicit that housing instability and violence is somewhat connected. And so they're not separate policy buckets. But how do you hold both safety crisis and the housing crisis at the same time without losing the focus on either one of those?
That's a big question.
I think for me, they're one and the same, right? When you think about safety, and I think this is the way that we operated. So, man, it's been a long time. So in 2021, I unveiled Baltimore's first ever comprehensive violence prevention plan, right? Because it's a law now that whoever is the mayor henceforth and forever has to present a comprehensive violence prevention plan. So it's not just about policing, it's not just about prosecution, it is about housing, it's about lighting and trash and recreation and education. It just happened to be a law that I passed when I was the leader of the city council. But when you think about the connectivity, right? When I pull down where this homicide or this shooting or this robbery happened, 9 times out of 10, I can look at that block and there's going to be a vacant house, so there's going to be 301 requests, and there's going to be all of these other things. We cannot continue to think about these things as they're so disconnected. There's so much interconnectedness, and that's why we operate that way. That when you're talking about, for us, when I came into office, much like with homicides, right? I'm 42 now, so 18 out of the 42 years that I've been alive, Baltimore had 300 homicides. We're now all the way down to 133, right? That's a huge drop. But simultaneously, when I was a junior in high school, we had 16,000 vacant properties, right? That is now down to 11,000 and something, right? That's a 25% reduction, eliminating 1 in 4 vacants in that time. You have to look at these things as strategies that are connected together, and that's why we're investing. We have a $3 billion strategy that we have now to eliminate vacancy in Baltimore City that go alongside what we're doing with public safety, alongside the investments into youth and education, because it's about building a healthier city, not just for now, but more importantly, for the future.
Yeah. And just, briefly, conceptually the same thing. Yeah. But, we have our joint city-county, we've been doing the joint city-county meeting for a long time. We're bringing our schools into that fold now because we can't do this work without our schools. Mm-hmm. We can't talk about the kids of Durham without this public school system and our other learning agencies. And so it is one and the same. That's why when it comes to our housing authority, the way that the federal government set up the housing authorities and then left them and abandoned them, underfunded them, that dignity that was taken away from those residents is just not fair. Not in the wealthiest country in America. So no more of that. And now DHA, Durham Housing Authority, has a development arm, and they are building quality units where you can't tell that it's affordable housing, and we are mixing it with market rate. Taekwon should have access to the same amenities as Thomas. And I want to make sure that we move forward in everything we do that way. We should not have concentrated areas of poverty. And you also can't expect people to lift themselves up if if you have your knee on their neck economically. And so we're upskilling people, we're providing programs to folks, and we're making sure that the opportunities are clear and present for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's all connected. It's all connected. Well, let's go ahead and round out our fireside chat with one final question. So when you look at your city and all that you have accomplished, both of you, what is still undone, and what does the next chapter look like? Not just, again, I know we talk about the numbers and all the great things of the different initiatives and government funding and all that, but when you think about the young you, whether it's the 16-year-old Brandon that is in Baltimore and the young Leo that is in the band. Were you in the band in high school?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm a band head.
Exactly. I was like, I'm sure you were in the band in high school. When you think about the young you, what does that look like, the future?
Yeah, tonight I recognize, champions and debate in sports tonight. But if I had just simply recognized just straight academic, just muscle in this community, the stage is not big enough. We have so much talent, so much intellectual power in our schools and amongst our young people. We have people capable of building the next ChatGPT, the next Claude, the next, Gamma, the next AI, masterpiece. We have kids that are capable of building Fortune 500 companies, but they will not do it if we do not, one, let them know that it's possible, and two, provide the pathway of resources for them to do it. So my goal is to, yes, we build a Fortune 500 company that started in Durham by a Durhamite, by a young person in this community. I don't think that's impossible.
Well, thank you. And I think before I answer your question, I do have to say this, just thank you, because for having me. It's so great to be back here in Durham. But I got a little emotional today on my flight in, because I was flying over Halifax County, and I'm looking out the window and thinking, man, we literally are our ancestors' wildest dreams. So if anybody in here has been to Enfield or Littleton, you know exactly what I mean, how crazy it is that we would be sitting on this stage. I can only think what they are thinking right now. It's crazy. But when I think about what's the future for Baltimore, I was speaking today actually with our good brother Mayor Bibb from Cleveland. Him and I were in Baltimore on a panel today, and I talked about us being in this great moment. And the future is going to be the result of us capitalize on that great moment. We're really now clicking on all cylinders, and what we want to see for our great city that we call the greatest city in America is that Baltimore will continue to hold on to its culture. We will be a growing city. We will continue to grow in eds and meds with Hopkins and UMD and all that great stuff. We will continue to be a port city with one of the most important ports in the world, in the port of Baltimore. Our tech industry will continue to grow. Our arts and culture will continue to boom. Charlotte will not get the CIAA back ever.
I don't know, man. We're working on it.
Good luck. Good luck, cuz. But we will also do that in a way that typically doesn't happen. It will not result in people being pushed out. It will not result in Baltimoreans who stayed through the thick of the things, or as folks would call them, the wire years. Those folks will benefit from the renaissance that we're going through in our city right now. And those young people who are now in those brand new schools, one of them will be sitting in this chair talking about how now they have taken Baltimore to be the best version of itself. That's all I want.
Thank you. Again, let's give a round of applause for both of our mayors here, Mayor Scott, Mayor Williams. Thank you, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, of course. So good. Of course.
Well, let's give it up again for Mayor Scott. All right, so let's bring this program to a close. But before I do close this evening, I want to share something that I believe represents a key part of what this office is trying to do. Not just in the big headlines or big initiatives, but just targeted, intentional investments. Much of what we just finished talking about. Meeting people exactly where they are. Because governing well is not only about, just the largest problems, but it's also about seeing the gaps that exist in real people's lives. The family that cannot afford groceries, the community that can't access fresh food. These are real issues. The young person caught up in a cycle of violence who just needs someone to intervene at the right moment and didn't do something about it. So tonight, I want to tell you about several investments coming directly out of this office, and I'm extremely proud of them. One, and I want to thank Mayor Schul for helping to obtain this one, the Mayor's Alliance Action Fund grant for $25,000. This grant from the Mayor's Alliance Action Fund is a direct investment in fighting food insecurity right here in Durham. And this is a network of leaders and organizations and community members who are aligned around a shared commitment of action. We're expanding pathways for residents to access essential resources like SNAP and WIC, helping to ensure that every household has consistent access to nutritious food every single day. This is real actionable work happening in our community. So let's give it up for the Action Fund. But then I get this call, Mayor, I think we need to apply for this grant. And it's Emmanuel and Cam out of my office. And I underestimated how good they really were. And they were good, but I didn't realize they were this good. These folks sat me down and started asking me a bunch of questions, and they were filling out this application. And then we get the call. Mayor, this is the American Beverage Association, and we're supporting the African American Mayors Association. And we'd like to let you know that Durham just won the largest grant in the country for food insecurity. $175,000. So to dive even deeper into food insecurity in Durham, we have to acknowledge that it is not evenly distributed. It's not comfortable to say it out loud, but it is true. And this office will not sit quiet until that is no more. So if you would join me in watching the screen for a presentation that was presented to the nation just last week. Durham is a city of innovation, a city of opportunity. People may refer to Durham as the Bull City. Home to Duke University and North Carolina Central University, we are the second most educated populace in America. We're majority locally owned in this city. I celebrate what we have to offer. But if you just put on your socioeconomic lenses, we still have a long way to go. How do you be known as one of America's Black Wall Streets, but still have a very underinvested Black community? Wealth disparity is growing. That is posing challenges such as the ability to afford healthy meals on the table. So that's why I'm really excited about this grant with American Beverage Foundation for Healthy America. We have 65 food banks in this community. We have the Black Farmers Market, the Black Farmers Collective. You have corporate communities that are now starting to heighten their philanthropy. So our goal is to bring those organizations and people together, conceptualize solutions, and then share that knowledge. The best option for us is to create what's called the Together Table.
Together Table initiative will create tremendous efficiencies because now we are working together, not only food pantries, but other stakeholders in the community. Two objectives with this coalition. One, buy better quality food, which in turn will enhance health of the recipients. The second goal is the other food pantries will come to the table. We have 50,000 food insecurity in Durham. We need 100,000 meals every day. To work together, you always accomplish much more than if you do it by yourself. And I think that will help us tremendously to put a coalition of private, public organizations and associations that truly can make a significant impact in the food insecurity in our community. This is going to be a big thing for Durham.
So I want to thank the American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America and the African American Mayors Association. I truly believe that this could be quite impactful, not only in Durham, but across this nation. So if you're interested in joining the Together Table, make sure you reach out to our office. We have 65 food banks in this city, and this money is going to be distributed amongst 4 major food banks where they're going to support others. We have $200,000 to invest. We're going to continue to work. Now, I launched the Bull City Future Fund some time ago, and I'll never forget Akila Davis, the reporter from ABC 11. She would call me about once a week. Mayor, so is the money there yet? Is it ready yet? Are you investing yet? I said, just give me a moment. I gotta raise some money. The Bull City Future Fund is one of the things I'm most proud about. It's the one thing in my tenure that I will always hang my hat on, because it represents a simple, powerful idea that this office should be a direct source of investment to the organizations that are doing extraordinary work in Durham, and often with very little recognition and very resources to the people that are doing this work. The Bull City Future Fund was created to do exactly that, to identify organizations that are embedded right here in our community, that are trusted by the people they serve, and that have a vision for what Durham can become, and then to put real money behind that vision. So to date, we have dispersed over $300,000 to youth-serving organizations right here in Durham. And tonight, I'm proud to announce that we are going to make another disbursement. To help me do that, I want to call to the stage Jeff Howell, the newly minted CEO of the United Way of the Greater Triangle, and our partners from Triangle Community Foundation. Yeah, come on up. today is the first example. Take a look at the screen. Invest in the youth of our community. All we have to do is come together as a community. So, before I call those organizations up to award them, I announced this $175,000 and didn't call those folks up to award them. So, if you will, representatives from the Black Farmers Market, representatives from the Durham Co-op Extension, representatives from Everyone Eats Durham, and representatives from Meals on Wheels. Please join me on stage. This is Cam's fault. She was texting me saying, "You're going way over time, Mayor." Hey, folks. Just want to thank you all for what you do. What's up, Moses? Long time. I want to thank you all for what you do, and it just gives me great joy to be able to have an amazing staff that is always thinking how, even as city employees, how they can best serve this community and utilizing this office as an opportunity to serve. So I look forward to dispersing funds to your organizations and you continuing to help throughout the community. But we have $200,000 that we're going to invest, and I'm really excited to work with you guys. All right. Now I wanted to bring my partners on stage here because this was the first time as mayor. Come on out of the dark. Come on so we can see you. I remember when Derek Stanfield, my former special assistant, he and I were on the phone, and I kind of lost my cool in the council meeting because it was about some young people getting in trouble. I said, dang it, I'm so tired of waiting to get money in the budget and do this and do that for young people. We're just going to do it ourselves. And he picked up the phone and he called Triangle Community Foundation, and I called United Way, and I was like, who are you on the phone with? He was like, okay. And I told him who I was on the phone with. And we were talking at the same time, and I apologize for the way we were talking to you guys, but we basically said, we're not asking. You guys are going to have to help us raise some money to invest in these young people. And they did not hesitate. So to Triangle Community Foundation and United Way, I appreciate the partnership that we've had together. And I know that we are shifting this program a little bit, and we're going to work just directly with United Way from here forth. And we're going to continue this effort. And we're going to continue investing in youth-serving organizations. But it gave me great joy to work with them as we're closing out this round. And we're going to continue to raise money. You're going to see a QR code up there on the screen in just a minute. I expect everyone to donate to the Bull City Future Fund so we can continue to invest in these organizations. But it gave me great joy to just make that phone call to say, hey, I appreciate the work you're doing, and we want to invest in you. So tonight, we'll be investing an additional $30,000 raised by you, the private community, and we're going to give to 4 organizations $7,500 tonight. And I'd like to call to the stage the Black SEL Dangers of the Mind Education Fund representatives. I'd also like to call to the stage Vault Theater. I'd like to call to the stage Kind Kitchen Group. And I'd like to call to the stage World Relief Durham. Each of these organizations will receive $7,500 directly into their organizations, no strings attached. The reason why we are identifying organizations and investing directly into them is because they are doing the life-saving work of saving our young people. Each one of these organizations are engaging young people at a very high capacity and making them the leaders that we need and want to see tomorrow. And if that's what you're going to do, then dang it, this mayor is going to invest in you. Thank you all so much. All right, thank you all so much. And we have some other announcements that are going to be coming at a later date. Thanks, guys. Thank you. At a later date, so make sure you continue to pay attention there. All right. So, as I close, Durham, I want to end, and I know you're like, finally, gosh, it's been a long evening. I want to end where I began tonight. Who is the city for? It is for the family that has put down roots here and deserves to stay rooted. It's for the young person who loves this city enough to come back and pour everything they have into it. It is for the neighbor who is still finding their footing and needs to know that this community has room for them. And it does, and it always will. The way that we show up for one another matters most, whether it's cold outside in the winter storms or hot outside and need shelter. The way we show up to for one another, to bring down crime, to make sure people are housed, to make sure people are fed, to make sure that our young people know that we see them. We have a lot of Divine Nine organizations here tonight. You all know this is what we were founded on. Thank you for being here. Thanks for showing up. This is a city that shows up, folks. And I'm so honored and so genuinely proud to be your mayor. So let's continue to focus on dignity, safety, and building community. Just ask yourself, what if community was an action word? That's something we all know how to do. So, I love the city. I know you do too. And yes, Durham is dope. And we're going to continue to make this the coolest place to live in this entire country. So I want you to repeat after me like I did last year. I love this city. Let's make sure we show that in action. Let's end it right, folks. Thank you all for coming out tonight. Do I have my boy Head Sabor here?
Put your bullhorns up.
Put your bullhorns up.
Come on. We about to get out of here. Come on, get to your feet. Oh.
Put your bullhorns up. Put your bullhorns up. Go.
Only the Bulls, Blue Devils, and the Eagles. 147, they stop.